In this video, you are going to learn 3 tips for overcoming stage fright. Stage fright, or performance anxiety as it's commonly known, is a crippling condition where you're unable to perform in front of other people. Now, it's very common and it doesn't discriminate between pros who play in front of thousands of people or someone who just simply wants to play a few tunes for family and friends. Hi, this is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net, and most, if not all, musicians have experienced some level of stage fright before. I know I certainly have. Now, the good news is there are simple things that you can do to overcome stage fright, and at the very least, drastically decrease the amount of stage fright you might feel when playing your guitar in front of other people. In this lesson, you learn 3 tips for overcoming stage fright. In a nutshell, they are: 1. Stop trying to eradicate the nerves that you feel when trying to play guitar in front of other people. 2. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. And 3. Practicing guitar for real life. This is most likely very different to how you're practicing guitar right now. There's great things that you can do when practicing that really prepare you for playing in front of other people. So we'll get stuck into those. So let's get into it. Okay, so stage fright, what is it? Well, if you play guitar, or it could be something else, but we're talking about guitar here, right? So if you play guitar or have played guitar in front of other people, you probably know what stage fright is, right? Now, there's a spectrum, right? There's the stage fright where you just cannot get up on stage. It's hit pros at just unexpectedly in their careers before. They've been fine performing and then something happens and all of a sudden they're petrified to get up and perform on stage. That has happened to a lot of professional guitar players and musicians and the like. And they overcome it essentially. So there's the real drastic stage fright, and then there's other levels of stage fright where you feel the nerves and it affects your performance, and you want that not to happen essentially, right? Okay, tip number 1 for overcoming stage fright: don't try and eradicate your nerves, or if you like, just don't try and get rid of them. Feel them. Okay, the first mistake you can make is thinking that the nerves that you feel are something you've got to get rid of. No, they're going to be there, okay, to varying degrees depending on the situation. It won't always be the same, but the nerves will be there. So first thing is accept them, welcome them, okay, recognize them, acknowledge them, and invite them in for a little cup of tea. No, just be at peace with them. Know that they're coming in, okay? Or if they come in, fine, accept them. Further to that, rebrand or reframe the nerves as excitement. Just know that it's a sign that you're ready. Nerves are energy. You choose how you want to label them, if you like. I label it as excitement, as adrenaline, and that really comes out in your playing. And if I'm not feeling that, then I don't get that same energy in my playing. I might play things technically okay, but it doesn't quite have the same, same edge to it because I'm not feeling the energy or the excitement. The more you feel nervous, the less you will feel nervous. Okay, so know that when I say the more you feel nervous, the less you feel nervous. You'll still feel those nerves. And as I say, you kind of still want to feel those nerves, but they don't have to be, the more that you go through that experience, the better you get at accepting the nerves and treating them as energy, positive energy and excitement. Okay. So if you go and play and you feel nervous and you try and feel the excitement and it still falls apart, that's okay. Just keep putting yourself in that situation because you will get better at harnessing and controlling your nerves. So don't try and get rid of your nerves. It seems like the logical thing to do. It doesn't work. And if you do happen to get rid of the nerves, there goes the energy that really makes a performance. So you're getting rid of the very thing that you need for a really good energetic performance. So instead of getting rid of the nerves, just accept them, acknowledge them, welcome them, and label them as excitement. Okay, tip number 2 for overcoming stage fright is get rid of unrealistic expectations. What are unrealistic expectations? Well, I will never make mistakes. That is an unrealistic expectation. Another one, I'll play to the same level in front of people as I do when I'm on my own at home, nice and relaxed in my bedroom. Another unrealistic expectation, every time I perform, I'll perform to the same consistent level. All of these are unrealistic expectations. You're going to make mistakes. You're human, okay? I make mistakes. I was about to say all the time. That's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but I make mistakes. If I go and play a gig, even just a few songs, there's more than likely going to be a couple of little mistakes in there. But the thing is, I'm relaxed about it. I've done it enough times. I can wing it. Most times you won't notice if I make a mistake. The only way you sort of notice mistakes, unless they're real corkers, and trust me, I've seen some great musicians, world famous musicians play. I've been at gigs and I've seen videos, but I remember a couple and they've been absolute corkers. There's no getting around them. There's no hiding. They're just really bad mistakes. What does the artist do? They laugh it off. You know, they don't care. I mean, they prefer not to do it, but it's not the end of the world, and they don't let that tarnish the whole gig. It doesn't blow up in their mind. Often, and I've been like this myself before, believe me, and I can still be like this. I could be playing a piece and I make a couple of errors, and my focus is on making those errors. And even if the rest of the piece is really good, I walk away thinking, oh man, I made these errors. What about, it's no big deal. I've let them blow up in my mind before. I still can do that. But you've got to realize that one mistake or even a couple of mistakes don't make the performance. Okay? So forgive yourself for making mistakes. We're human. We all make them. You will get, again, with experience, you'll get better at making them, meaning that when you do, you'll get better at being able to kind of wing it or cover it up or not make it seem so obvious. And I'll guarantee you 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 people who are watching you won't know anything has happened. So often it's the frame of mind you get into after making a mistake that really tarnishes the performance, not the actual mistake itself. So if you make the mistake, laugh it off, get over it, it's done, and keep moving forward, okay? The other one is thinking that you're going to play to the same level when you're in front of other people versus on your own at home. I've got some news for you. You will never play at the same level in front of anyone compared to when you're on your own, okay? You will only hear yourself at your best, really. That's the harsh truth. Now, it's not all bad though. Let's say that you can play at this level when you're on your own at home. Okay, you're in your bedroom. It's nice and relaxed. Everything's familiar. No one's hearing you, and so you're chilled and you're playing to your highest potential, right? Now, when you perform, if you're performing well, you're getting very close to that. And the idea is to have that gap as narrow as possible. Okay, if you're really suffering from stage fright and letting things affect you, then it might be quite a big gap. Okay, we don't want that. It's okay that there's a gap because there's no really avoiding that. It's just how it is. But it will be pretty narrow if you practice things in a particular way and take on what I'm telling you today, taking that on board. Okay, and as you get better, so is this. You want to keep this level. Okay, and the other one that I listed there was every time I play, I'm going to play at the same consistent level. Well, here's an example of when I've heard great players talk and it's made me feel human, and okay, that's all right then. Tommy Emmanuel, right? If you play acoustic guitar, you know who Tommy Emmanuel is. He's just a brilliant musician on a number of levels. Such a great performer. Plays 300 plus shows a year. Now I've heard him interviewed before, and he has said that he can't, it's going to be different every night, but there are some nights where he's just not as not in the zone so much, okay? Not as tuned in with his performance as other nights. And it can be probably for a variety of reasons. But the point is, you're not a computer, you're not a machine. You can't be the same every time. So he has some nights that, we might call them off nights. Now, if you're going to watch him, you're probably not going to really notice because he's playing at such a high level. Even his bad nights are really good. But to him, he can feel the difference, okay? So someone as great and as good as Tommy Emmanuel doesn't play on a consistent level by his own standards, well then, that's okay for the rest of us too. You can't, okay? It's going to be different. Some nights you're going to absolutely nail it, or some performances. And when I say performances, it could be in front of one person, it could be in front of 1,000 people. So we're not talking about necessarily up there on stage touring the world or anything. But sometimes you're going to play really well, and it's going to feel like anything you do is going to sound great. And then there's other times you pick up your guitar and it just feels totally foreign and everything you do doesn't sound that great. They're the two sort of extremes, and then everything else in between. But don't expect that you're going to get to some place where you play brilliantly every single time you perform. It's going to range, okay? But the better you get, the narrower that is, meaning, you're great and you're good and your bad nights aren't that far apart, okay? And anyone watching or listening to you isn't really going to notice. Okay, and tip 3 for overcoming stage fright, and this is a big one, it will make all the difference: practice for real life guitar playing. So what does that mean exactly? It means a lot of things, but essentially, in a nutshell, it's practice the way that it's going to be when you actually play in front of other people on whatever level that might be. So for example, play in front of family and friends. Now, you can't always have an audience, you can't always just get a gig, but you can always, or most times, play in front of someone. And often playing in front of 1 or 2 people is more nerve-wracking than playing in front of 100 or 200 people. Okay, it's funny like that, but it's much more intense when there's just 2 sets of eyes on you and not much atmosphere. So it's really, really good. You could just, whatever you're practicing to perform, to play, to be able to play under all conditions, just grab a loved one, a partner, a sibling, a parent, sit there and play it for them. And I'll guarantee you'll get really nervous. I remember I used to practice things, and I think the more I practice this, the better I'm going to be when I played in front of other people. Now, that's not really true. I mean, yes, the more you practice something, the more it is in your fingers, and the more you can rely on it when you do get nervous. But if you've only ever really practiced that thing feeling nice and relaxed at home on your own, and then all of a sudden you're playing it in front of somebody or in front of a number of people, it doesn't matter how well you've practiced it, you're still going to get those nerves, and it's going to really affect your performance. And that's happened to me too before. And then I would go back and I'd think, I just didn't practice it enough. I didn't practice it hard enough. I'll keep practicing it. And then it would happen again with some other piece in some other context, and it would happen again. And eventually I'm thinking, yeah, I'm practicing in one, sort of context, and then playing within a totally different context. I might be doing the same thing, but it's in a different context, and that is what the difference is. That makes all the difference. Another great way is to record yourself, because when you record yourself, you sort of get that red light fever, if you like. The camera goes on and all of a sudden you can freeze up. Very similar to performing. Other things, just quickly, with real life playing, we could create a list with hundreds of items on, and I encourage you to think yourself and come up with ways that you might be able to practice. But here's some that I've done before for various performances. I've played when I haven't been warmed up. So often you sit down to practice something, let's say it's a piece of music, and after 5 minutes you're flying with it, it's sounding great. Well, when you go perform that song, you don't have 5 minutes to jam around on it first before you then perform it, right? You've just got to perform it. So often if I'm working on a piece, I'll just pick up my guitar some point throughout the day and just play it, whatever the piece is I'm working on, or part of the piece at the time, and just play it cold and see how I play it, because that's really going to say more to me where I'm at with it than after 5 minutes of warming up on it. Play on crappy equipment. You're not always going to have a great sound. A lot of the time the sound's not going to be ideal, depending on the situation. You might not have great equipment. It might be the room. It could be any number of things. So play with the crap sound. Playing standing up, walking around. Play with your eyes closed. Play with lights in your eyes, if you can. Just think of all the different things that you can do and train under to prepare yourself for real life playing and playing in front of other people. If you would like help with your finger picking, the kind of help that gets you results in the most direct, efficient, fun way possible, then check out the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course, a complete system for fingerpicking acoustic guitar, so simple even a beginner can learn it. I've carefully designed this course to do all the heavy lifting for you, as far as knowing exactly what to do, how to do it, and when to do it in regard to mastering the art of fingerpicking guitar. All you have to do is follow the pathway I've laid out for you. In the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course, you will learn and master all the key concepts, methods, strategies, and techniques needed for fingerpicking, so you'll never put your guitar down in frustration again, thinking, how the hell do I do this? You will also discover the exact order in which to do things, avoiding the all too common mistakes most people make when learning to fingerpick guitar, saving you precious time and frustration. Have your hand held every step of the way with the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course. It will take you from wherever you are at right now with your fingerpicking to where you would like to be. enjoying every part of the process along the way. So click the link in the description below the video and check out the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course. Let me know in the comments what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see covered in future videos. I love to hear from you. I read all comments and I'll reply, so don't be shy. If you like this video, then hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the all-important notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. As always, I really appreciate your time. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next one.